let's take it out of the abstract and think about this, something that you might be able to relate to. What essentially is a computer record? Okay? If you today walked into a place of business or a place of government and we're about to consummate something and memorialize that transaction, that event, that activity, what would make you feel comfortable as you walked out with the artifact that carried or embodied or memorialized what you just did? So, a receipt. Great. What if I gave you essentially this? And I said...
There's no lead paint in it, is there?
No.
Probably.
I can't prove it at this point.
Aha! I didn't use your software.
Okay. This is a familiar toy, right? It's a very simple device. It uses magnetism to change the nature in a binary way. Okay? This is what a computer does. It's very transient. It's very easy to change. In fact, it's so easy to change that you can't tell. Now ask yourself, how would you feel if you thought about every important thing that you do today, business-wise, legally, between you and your government, and it all lives on these? Does that make you feel good? Does that give you confidence?
Once you put my government in there, I was very nervous.
And you should be, right?
That's why I worry about the government regulations. I have to keep every email that I ever sent to anybody.
Well, that's not actually what they say. But the point is, the government can...
How they define it.
The government can put you in jail. That's one of the big things. They can take away your civil liberties. But that's the way computers work. That's the way we create and memorialize things. See, there's nothing inherent between the content and the media that acts as a binding. See, when paper and ink were our authoritative record form, there actually was a form of binding. There is a form of binding. When this is our official record, we have the benefit of the fact that when ink is applied to paper, it actually chemically binds and dyes the content to the media such that a forensicist can examine a single individual record and reach empirical conclusions about that record on its own, irrespective of its custody, its control, or its context, and then judge it as an element within that context and control. We can't do that with electronic records today. The only way to rely upon an electronic record is an element within its context. Which means if we control the context, we control everything.
So you still have to do the need for the product. And I think that's a given, especially with this audience. So you say you provide authentication in the digital world. So yours is a digital solution?
Ours is a digital technique, yes.
It's a product, it's a piece of code, it's software. Does it protect Word documents?
Yes.
Does it protect lines of C code?
It can tamper indicate.
Facts?
It can tamper indicate, all right? I use those words very intentionally, just like on the bottle of pills. That lightweight cellophane indicator is a mechanism that you can use to judge or determine the likelihood someone has changed the nature of the content.
Does it tell the sender or the receiver or both?
It can be employed. Its nature is very simple, that it lets you determine whether or not it's likely someone has changed that set. Now, if within the set are data that basically say identity, because guess what? In a computer, identity is what? Data. So the basic building block of all of this is, what's the set of data? I can't even have certainty around a who until I can have certainty around the what. Then I can start to draw conclusions about the what, the when, and the who, if I can lock the sets down. So it works, this method works based on the binary. It's based on zeros and ones. So it's not a function of the format, it's based on the content, and creates a mathematical binding that's anchored to time. We actually make it possible to prove time for data.